In the part 5, we are going to different types of system calls are there. We're going to discuss those. For process controlling, there is those which is responsible. There are some system calls which are responsible for the process management. So there are some system calls which are responsible for process management. So those come under the category of process controlling. There are some which is responsible for file manipulations, like reading the file, opening the file, creating the file, writing the file. Those system calls which are responsible for the file manipulations are coming under file management. Now, device management means those system calls which are responsible for device manipulation, that is, writing the data, writing data to the buffer, writing data from the buffer. Right. So this all comes under the category where device management comes. That is, those system calls which is used for device manipulations. Then we have information maintenance. In the information maintenance, those which is responsible for the informations which is being shared between the different process. We know different processes would share informations between them. So those system calls which is basically responsible for this information part is coming under the information maintenance. Then you have communication. We know communication means different process in the same system or the different system can communicate with each other. That is IPC responsible. So those system calls which is responsible for IPC, that is inter-process communication, would come under this category. So we have for process control, we have for the file management, the device management, the communication, the maintenance of informations. All these are the different types of system calls. Let us see what are some examples of those system calls under each of this category. So if you see process control in Windows and Linux, in both, if you consider, there are different examples. Like if I'm talking about the process control in Windows, that is creating the process, exit process. This is kind of like methods. Create process, exit process. But in Linux, we use fork, wait, exit. There can be also other system calls here, but we are saying few examples. Create process and exit process. In Linux, it is fork, wait, and we'll discuss these three very clearly in detail in the upcoming lectures. But now you have to understand in Linux, in the process control section, we basically have the fork, wait, and the exit part. But in Windows, we normally say create process, exit process. In file management also. In file management part also, we just say read file, write file. But here, we just simply say read, write, open. Okay. Read file, write file are basically used here. Now, device management, if you consider for the device management section, we have the read console, write console. Here, normally you have the read and the write part. Information maintenance, get the current process ID. But here in Linux, we say get PID. Process ID itself, current process ID itself, but we say PID. Sleep is both same in here. And there is also another part like alarm, which is there in Linux. And for the communication part, create pipe. Create pipe is in the Windows case and just pipe would be in the case of Linux. So first of all, so in process controlling part, we have to create the process, exit the process. In Windows, in Linux, we say fork, we use fork to create the process, which we'll discuss in detail. Wait and exit is up. In file management, we saw read the file, write the file. In Linux, we just simply write read, write, and open. Device management also read console, write console. Here we just simply say read and write here. Information maintenance part, get the current process ID. Or you just simply say get PID. Then you have sleep in both of them common. In communication, create pipe and simply pipe is used for in the case of Linux. Simply pipe only we will use in the case of Linux. But in the case of our Windows, we basically use create pipes. Next part, we'll discuss about the fork and these system calls in detail and some questions related to fork.